Good evening. I want to welcome everyone to the Elmore County Commission work session for February 27th, 2023, and I will call this meeting to order. I want to start by recognizing a fellow elected official, our district attorney for the 19th Circuit, C.J. Robinson, is with us tonight. We appreciate him joining us. He will be speaking to us shortly, and we look forward to hearing his comments. We'll start with a special presentation tonight, a resolution honoring the achievements of Macy Stewart, AHSAA swimming state champion. And I will ask Macy, if you want to make your way up to the podium, and I'll make a few comments, and then we'll want to read just a small excerpt from the resolution we'll be presenting. And this is not the first time Macy has been here, and so we're very proud to see you again here tonight. But as we all know, on an ongoing basis, the County Commission recognizes the championships that our students have won in team and individual sports. And tonight we want to recognize Tallahassee High School student Macy Stewart for her accomplishment in the 2022 Alabama High School Athletic Association Swimming Championship. Macy began her swimming at age 4, and at age 11, her parents started taking her to swim in Auburn Aquatics, and she began swimming with the Tallahassee High School in 7th grade. Early on, she placed in multiple events in the 2018 Alabama High School Athletic Association swim meet, at the 2020 Southeastern Swimming Championships, where she set an Auburn Aquatics 13, 14-year-old record, which is very impressive. And then in the 2021 Alabama High School Athletic Association state meet, she set an association record. And at the 2021 association meet, swimming champions, she set a new personal best and broke her record from the previous year, and wound up winning the event overall. And as I was speaking to you a minute ago before we started the meeting, that's very impressive, and congratulations on your accomplishment. I'm sure your family and your friend and coaches that are around you, that those that support you are very proud of you, and we're glad that you're here tonight, and we could recognize all of your accomplishments. With you being a senior this year, do you think you'll wind up swimming college level?
Well, I'm actually a junior this
Junior,
year.
I'm sorry. Well, you being a senior next year, I'm sorry.
Yes. I've been talking to some colleges, so
Yeah?
it's likely.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they probably are glad when you call or when you take their phone call if they're looking for a quality swimmer. So congratulations. Are there any other comments from our fellow commissioners?
We're so very proud of you, Macy. It seems like you're a member of the family. You've been here so many times to get these awards, but this is a very big deal. I know your community is proud, the city of Tallahassee is proud, and I'm proud as your commissioner representing that area. Very much look forward to following your college career and then on to the Olympics, and there's no telling where you're going. So couldn't be more proud of you and your family, because we know it takes a family support to do something like this. A lot of time and effort, so thank you.
Macy, it's outstanding that you keep coming up here, and we keep honoring you and your family, because we know, as Commissioner Daughtry just said, it's a lot of hours of them driving back and forth and taking the time and effort, and being a great example for your fellow students is something that I know you'll cherish and work hard, because we know that people look up to you every day, and the example you're setting is just outstanding. So thank you.
Thank you.
Macy, I just wanted to express my congratulations to you as well. And commissioners, I think we have a lot of ladies that are experiencing some girl power, because we have a lot of ladies getting resolutions. So continue on. So proud of you. We're expecting to see you back again next year, your senior year, right?
Yes.
Congratulations
Thank
again.
you.
I want to congratulate you, and I'm especially proud of you because I'm a graduate of Tallahassee High School back in the dark ages, 1977 when I graduated.
For air conditioner.
It's good to see young ladies excelling like you, and you're an example to people, whether you realize it or not. You keep doing what you're doing, and you'll affect people's lives and may not even know it. But I'm very proud of you. I hope you continue to win, and I know your mom and daddy would be real proud if you got a college scholarship somewhere and help them out a little bit. But again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Macy, if you want to come to the front, we'll present you your resolution and take a photo.
Come up, yes. Grandmother, all, yes, they want to get up. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You know, Commissioners, I think you'll agree, that's one of our favorite things we get to do is recognize our students for their accomplishments. All right, now we'll move on to regular business, review of the minutes of the February 6, 2023 Commission meeting. Any questions from Commissioners? All right, next item is review of memorandum of warrants for the period of January 28, 2023 through February 17, 2023. Mr. McGinty?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the memorandum of warrants for that period was $2,882,209.80.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from Commissioners? All right, now we'll move on to old business. Consider appointment to the Elmore Water and Sewer Authority Board, appointment due February 27th, 2023. The candidate listed is Ron Harris. Any questions or comments?
This is, he is on the board at the present time, right?
Yes, sir. He served there for many years. This will just be a reappointment.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other questions or comments? All right, next item is discuss one appointment to the Central Elmore Water and Sewer Authority Board, appointment due February 27th, 2023. The candidate listed is Conrad White. Any questions or comments? This also is a reappointment. Okay, next item, agenda item reads, C.J. Robertson, District Attorney, update from District Attorney's Office. C.J., we'll welcome you to the podium, and where you're going to share some items of interest related to your office.
Well, first off, I want to say thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to address you tonight. A few things I want to cover, and
CJ, you can take that mic out if you want to hold it.
that'd be great. You know, those of us in the courtroom that walk around pinning us down behind a podium sometimes it's kind of hard. So some things I want to talk about tonight is to let you know, because we're at a point in our state to where public safety is in a new conversation. And it's in a new conversation because of the Prison Reform Act of 2015. And if you don't live in the world of criminal law, if you don't live in the world of the legal system and criminal justice and all this kind of stuff, then you may not know what's going on. And I can't tell you how many times you've probably been asked these exact same questions. How do we continue to see the same mugshots over and over and over and over? What is happening? What are we doing? What are you doing to fix it? Well, I want to be able to give you the answer to those questions. And I'm going to do it as briefly as I can tonight, as quickly as possible. But I would love to tell you in 90 seconds I could answer that question for you. I'm not going to take 4 hours or anything like that. But this is something, y'all, this is at the crux of our community right now. And we've got to understand it. So I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. Jeannie, would you mind running that for me? So really quick about our office, and most of you may or may not know this, but you know, we got 3 counties. We have 67 counties in the circuit, 67 counties in the state, 42 judicial circuits. Out of that, we are the largest multi-county circuit in the state. Every circuit larger than us is a major metropolitan area, and then you have Shelby County, Baldwin County, but then you look at Mobile, Montgomery, Jefferson County, Madison County. So when you put us in terms of that, we are right there with what you would call the big boys in the state. with the crimes and the number of cases and things. We have the fourth highest caseload in the number of cases. We are the best in the state when it comes to moving cases and getting cases through. I tell you all that to tell you, we work hard. And we still see the same problems. I can't imagine what the taxpayers in some of these other counties, what they see. I put this up here for you. This is the totals. Now, I gave you a 2-year total because COVID messed up everything, a lot of drug cases. Y'all, we haven't had a drug tested in this area in 18 months. To charge somebody with a crime, for me to indict them, I've got to have a sheet of paper from somebody with a lot more degrees than I do that says this is chemically methamphetamine or heroin or whatever it is. I haven't got one of those in 18 months. The Montgomery lab was shut down to help other labs catch up for COVID. So we have people waiting for their cases to get through. I tell you, if I had to give you 1 year, those numbers would be down. I averaged it over 2. So if you look at circuit-wide over here, we've got about 18,000 traffic cases, and I put those numbers just to show you. Look at the Elmore County numbers. Look at the percentage the Elmore County numbers are of the total. So you've got the traffic, you've got the district court level, you've got the juvenile cases. I mean, it's just a large percentage, over half in some points. Then the child support numbers are a little down because we've had a lot of child support turnover. Our Elmore County people have done a lot of training. So I put that up there for you to see. 27,000 cases a year. Y'all, that is a tremendous number, right up there with the most in the state. I've done this slide for years, and I've added something to it. I said a failed experiment. What do I mean by that? That's what I'm going to try to cover very, very quickly for you. So in 2015, our state, we put a price tag on public safety. We had to make a decision, and our state decided that we were going to, instead of increasing prison capacity, we were going to prioritize who was going in. So if you look at those numbers there, in 2014, our prisons were at 197% capacity. And you can track those numbers there. I won't waste time going through all of those, but you can see that capacity has shrunk once the Prison Reform Act kicked in. Now, for every one person that goes in, essentially 2 come out. As you get down through there, what does that mean for us? Go ahead, Jenny. What it means for us is this. We have a bunch of new laws. We have early release. We have more parole hearings. We have smaller sentences. We have more cases, more people on probation, fewer people getting revoked. We have more criminals on the street than we have ever had. And you know what that means? That means more victims. Now, this slide, I'm not going to cover this. Do not make fun of my graphic design capabilities here. This is me on a PowerPoint drawing boxes and lines. And I know Desiree knows what that is full well. That is a chart of every single felony case in the state of Alabama. That is the process it goes through. Why do I put that up there? Well, I show that to the police academy classes I teach. I make all our new prosecutors learn that, every employee we got. I put that up there to show you. If you look at the procedure of that, it's a long process. And when you're a victim, that process sucks. I'm just going to be honest with you, it does, because you wait for a long time. Go ahead, Jenny. There's about 4 stages to a criminal case. Those of you who have a law enforcement background, you know this. Every stage is equally as important. I can't say one stage is more important because if one part gets messed up, the whole thing's messed up. But when you look at how long those different stages last, and I know I'm oversimplifying some of this stuff. If you got a traffic stop and you find meth, that could be a few hour report to an arrest. But if you come home from vacation and your door's kicked in and all your guns are taken and your TV's taken off the wall, you're going to have to do an inventory. The police are going to want you to know what you had and what you didn't have. You got to find serial numbers. You got to get insurance papers. You got to figure out all that stuff. Let's say the police know who did it. Well, they just schedule an interview. Maybe they hire an attorney. Some time. So on average, I just said 2 months. Investigation, I said 4 months. Now, I told you on some cases, we waited for 1.5 years on toxicology to come back. So that could be a lot longer. If it's a murder case and we've got fingerprints and DNA, that's going to be maybe 1.5 years. From the time a case initiates until the time we get a case file, all right, some months pass. When we get the file in our hand, you still got to wait about 12 months because I've got that many cases waiting to go to the next grand jury. So what happens when you start stacking up those timelines there before it even gets in court? I mean, you're looking at what, almost 1.5 years, 2 years? Once it gets on a court's docket, Judge Lewis, I can probably get your case to court in a year. Judge Baxley, maybe a year and a half, closer to 2. Judge Booth, with the docket she inherited, I'm trying to be generous by saying 24 months. Put that all together, if you are a victim, you're going to have to wait almost 4 years from the time you come home and your door's kicked in before the case is over. Now, they could plead guilty at any point in time, but if they take the case to trial, you're looking at about a 4-year process. Now, I am not going to cover this in length. I just want to show you, I made this chart for our assistant DAs to help them understand whatever a class felony is, what the range of punishment is. So, Jenny, if you'll go ahead and skip to the next one. Now, when I started in 2008, that line right there did not exist, okay? That line was created with the Prison Reform Act of 2015. Let me tell you, because when I said you see the same people over and over, this is the part. Okay, look, I grew up in my grandmother's house a lot. You know, my mother, she worked at the hospital during the day. She worked at a school during the day, hospital at night, trying to get her degree, trying to get her master's, became a school teacher. So I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. She loved Paul Harvey and that kind of thing. So I'm real big on what's the rest of the story, what's going on behind the scenes. I wanted to catch you up to get to the Prison Reform Act because this is the crux of what I'm talking about here. With the Class D felony, that was passed, and y'all, that don't look too bad, a year and a day to 5. But let's break it down. In the statute, it says a year and a day to 5, but you can't go to jail. So why tell me it's a year and a day to 5 if you can't go to jail? So, go ahead, Jenny. I'm going to take you through a case, a situation here, and I know with criminal histories and stuff, you really can't get into names, but I'm going to take you through this. So, sometimes you get pulled over on arrest and you got methamphetamine. Maybe you sing to the police. Maybe you give them some information. Maybe you don't go to jail that first time because you helped yourself out. Maybe you're a confidential informant. Who knows? But you know what? You don't get to do that forever. Maybe the next time you get arrested, you do pretrial diversion. Program run by the DA's office for first-time offenders. We're trying to get you help, get you treatment, get you back on the right track. It doesn't always take. Let's say the third time you get arrested, you do drug court. Program run by our judges, intensive supervision, more programs that last longer. Let's say that don't take. You do it again, drug court, maybe even more supervision. At the end of the day, everything I've just told you does not result in a conviction if you complete those programs. Now, up to your 5th arrest, you get arrested, you're out of deferred options. So now the system runs its course. You get a conviction. That's a Class D felony. You cannot go to jail. You cannot go to prison. The next arrest, conviction, Class D felony. You cannot go to jail or prison. The next time, Class D, you cannot go to jail. You cannot go to prison. The next time, you're on your 8th arrest. Back up one slide for me, Jenny. So if you look at that, as you go through that, now you're on your 8th arrest. You finally, on the far right over here, you have 3 prior felonies. That's a year and day to 10. Okay, go next slide, Jenny. So that puts you in the Class C felony. Now, jail or prison is a possibility. But wait, it's not that simple. Even if you do go to prison, or even if you are put on probation, okay, let's do the probation first. This series of dips and dumps was put in. When I started, 16 years ago, if you sold drugs and you got arrested and the judge decided to give you a chance at probation and you started failing drug tests, guess what? You went to prison because you couldn't handle probation. That does not happen now. Now, if you have a failed drug test, it's called a dip. That's 48 hours in the county jail. You got to have 3 dips before you get dunked. A dunk is 45 days in DOC. I can tell you by the time DOC decides to come get you, your 45 days, you're going to sit that out in the county jail. So, 3 dips, a dunk, that's 4. 3 dips, a dunk, that's 8. 3 dips, a dunk, that's 12. After I've been dunked 3 times, my next violation, I can be revoked, okay? So, go ahead, Jenny. But we can't take these out of the equation. The federal sentencing guidelines, these came into play in 2010 as a suggestion for criminal overcrowding. They became mandatory for us to use in 2015 with the Prison Reform Act. My mother taught math for 30 years. I did this job to not do math. When this passed, it looks like I'm doing a tax sheet, back doing math. So with that being said, you can see here, every charge gets a crime and all this kind of thing, and I'm going to save you a lot of time and tell you this. That's junk. And let me tell you why it's junk. We have had cases, 86 count indictment, and the score was the same as if there was one count. And that doesn't matter if it's sex, that doesn't matter if it's drugs, that doesn't matter if it's murder. Y'all, that ain't right. Now, go ahead. So, you talk about the sentencing guidelines. Now, with the sentencing guidelines, assuming there is a prison sentence, okay? Now, you talk about good time. Good time, y'all, I depart from a lot of my colleagues in the DA's Association in my position on good time. I'm okay with the concept of good time. If you reward somebody for doing something, for learning a trade, for getting a DED, for completing a class, I understand some incentive to do something. Not if you involuntarily breathe. That is not earning anything to me. Now, go ahead, Jenny. When you go into prison, okay, you are given what's called a minimum release date. Again, I think that's a misleading term. It is actually what's called a maximum release date. So let me explain this to you. If I get a 10-year sentence, I go in on January the 1st, 2010. Common sense would tell me I'm coming out on January the 1st, 2020, okay? That'd be my maximum release date. I say maximum because I'm not staying past that day, okay? So here's my sentence of leaving, okay? Will be this stand right here. Every day I'm in prison, it's like I'm slicing a loaf of bread. I'm getting closer to this release date. But with good time, here's what's happening. While I'm serving time this way, my sentence is doing this on the back end. Because I'm getting 75 days of credit for every 30 days that I'm in prison. So I'm with the federal sentencing guidelines that are now part of the state, sentences were cut down to a third. So I will just tell you, if I used to get 15 years, now I'm getting 5. In addition to getting 5, when I go into prison, I am serving a fraction of that 5 years. So that is one reason why you see the revolving door of some of this stuff, but it doesn't end there. So we've talked about the new laws and stuff to where I can't send you to jail. You keep committing those. I finally get an opportunity to send you to jail. The guidelines have decreased your sentence to where you don't go to jail. Once you do go to jail, we've talked about how you get out of jail early. Now we got to throw parole on top of that. For the argument's sake, let's skip on down to the 10 to 15 year line. So, remember when I said you go in and you're slicing bread this way and good times cutting it this way? When these 2 days get within 30 months of each other, ding, 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 parole hearing. That's what that means. Let me show you how that works. Go ahead, Jenny. Just skip on down for time's sake to the bottom line, okay? When I got involved with Vocal years ago, the top victim rights group in the state that I'm the chairman of, I came out with this chart. By the way, a lot of math. The sentence on the far left, the next couple columns, UEOS, means you walk out a free man, not supervised, not on probation, not on anything, okay? You did your sentence. You do a 15-year sentence, you walk out in 4 years, 7 months, and 22 days, okay? Let's round up. Let's say you do 4 years and 8 months. Now, I'll share this with you. Think about the parole, guys. Think about the parole hearing within 2.5 years. So if I got a 48-month sentence, I EOS, a 15-year sentence, I EOS in, 56 months. When 30 months get within these 2 days, I get a parole hearing. We have people getting parole hearings on 15-year sentences, y'all, in less than 2 years. That should not happen. In addition to that, let's talk about what happened that you and I went under the radar. Why did it go under the radar? It went under the radar because nobody really understood it. I can tell you when early release passed, the DA's Association, the AG's office went to the governor and said, please don't do this. If you do it, please make it violent criminals only. That's not what happened. Now, let's talk about 22. Let's just talk about 23 first. That's what's got all the attention. In 23, the mandatory release list, I asked for a list from the probation and parole office. They had that list in 3 hours. It took them 5 weeks to get approval to give me that list. I was initially told you're not entitled to it. So I'm supposed to be the chief law enforcement official over these 3 counties with public safety, and me and the sheriff can't get a list of the people getting released early from prison. Finally got that list. When I ran that list, 400 names in the state of Alabama, 10 were coming to our 3 counties. Now, let's back up. In 22 is when that law passed. So I asked the probation and parole office to go back. I said, I need a list of everybody that's been put on mandatory, not the ones that's coming out. I want everybody. I only got the ones that came to the 19th Circuit. But how about this? So if out of 400 coming out in 23, we're getting 10. In 22, we got 98. I don't know how many total got out on mandatory release, early supervision. I don't know. I know we got 98 of them. I put that up there because I truly believe this. I have no reason to believe those victims were notified. Why do I believe that? Because our state gave $500,000 in 2017 for a victim notification system that doesn't work today. Still doesn't work today, that our tax dollars paid for. I have no reason to believe they have ankle monitors. Why do I believe that? I was standing in court with an Elmore County probation officer, who they do a great job, our local people, by the way, and I said, let's look up one person. We look them up. Tell me how this is going to work. Oh, man, it's great. I put in a name. They'll show up on the grid. We know where they're at. Let's try one. Guess what? No ankle monitor. Randomly pick one off the list. So how about Donald Washington? Donald Washington was a case out of Prattville, and I won't go through all that. He was arrested less than 2 weeks after he got out of a robbery case in Montgomery on early release, burglary, other crimes. In his interview, they said, man, where's your ankle monitors? Ankle monitor? I got that early release. I didn't get a monitor. None of us did. That's in his interview with Prattville PD just from a couple weeks ago. Now, in the 22 release, let me tell you about Michael Jerome Butler. That's been in the news. I won't go through all of that. That's the guy that got out from Greenville with 5 prior felonies. He had been revoked on all 5 of those felonies previously. He kidnapped 2 17-year-old girls. He raped them. He sodomized them. He used a gun to sexually torture them. Luckily didn't kill them. Went on a killing spree in Atlanta, kidnapped people, home invasion, shot people. It's bad. It's bad. We're trying to get life without parole. He's being housed in the Elmore County Jail, actually, because he keeps trying to escape out of the Autauga Jail. So let's move forward. Let's talk about an Elmore County case. Let's talk about Michael Padilla. If that's anybody in here's relative, I'm sorry. This is the truth. Michael Padilla, 93 arrests, guys. 93. That is not a typo. 19 new charges. I got a phone call this weekend. I was trying to take my daughter to a gymnastics meet in the University of Alabama, and my phone was ringing because the victim who lives in Elmore County was asking about Michael Padilla that broke in his house and stole everything. So as I start looking into it, in January of 21, he was convicted on 3 felonies. At that time, he had basically printed 20 priors, okay? Now, he was given 100 months. Even that, he got a chance on community corrections. Guess what? He messed that up. So he has 100 months to serve, almost a 10-year sentence. Now, think about everything I just told you. Let's see how that applies in the real world. On a 100-month sentence, he was paroled out of the Elmore County Jail after 1 year. He never set foot in the Department of Corrections. He stayed in Elmore County Jail. He never got picked up. He never got transferred, and he got paroled in a year. Well, how did that happen? Well, let's look at it. Let's just say an 8-year sentence. He would EOS, end of sentence, free man in 2 years, 7 months, and 22 days with good time. Okay? With mandatory release, that kicks in. He's really only serving a year and 7 months. But guess what? You still have the parole hearing that kicks in. When you talk about that 30-month ding, 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 that's all over that. So what I just walked you through, this is real world. This is not the only person in Elmore County. This is happening time and time again. Now, I guess the summary is this. You have the guidelines, the Class D felonies, where there is no hammer out there, harder to revoke probation. You're still getting good time. You get parole, early release. Why do I tell you this? I tell you this because I firmly believe that we put a price tag on public safety in 2015. And what has happened? We have raised a generation of young people that are now in their early and mid-20s, that when they were in their mid to late teens, they saw mama not go to jail. They saw daddy not go to jail. And they have watched for the last 8 years there be no expectation of punishment in the legal system. And yes, I get fired up and it makes me sick. And when it doesn't get me fired up, I need to go do something else. But that's why we have more people committing violent crimes at a younger age than we have ever had at this time. So how can you help? Well, I would say this. Clearly pray for us, encourage us, support us, trust us to do the best we can do. I look for every person that I got an opening that came up today, and everybody I look for somebody that has this attitude in Isaiah 6:8. It says, I heard a voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? It says, here am I, send me. You know, this job isn't for the weak of heart. We need people willing to do what's right. This next one, tell others. One of my favorite verses, Judges 2:10. It's a little unorthodox, but it's a reminder for me to talk about what's important to you. And it says, the whole generation been gathered to their ancestors. Another generation grew up who did not know the Lord or what he had done for them. I don't want people not to know what's important because I sat on my hands and didn't tell them what was going on. And the last thing I want to ask is this. I'm just going to be honest with you. We need help. And we need help in the way of funding. And the reason I say that is this. You know, I'm not coming to the commission and asking for additional officers or attorneys or anything else. I'm asking for you to consider some additional funding for a victim service officer. And why do I say that? Because, y'all, I'm honest, they are our first responders. That chart I showed you, we have court 5 days a week almost. You are not, today, we had 2 murders, we had a student suicide, and we got grand jury going on in Autauga County. That will help you fill that paperwork out to try to get out of a bad situation to get in a shelter. Child death review. Guys, did y'all know that we have like 15 children a year in our 3 counties that die under the age of 1? It's almost 15 a year. They're the ones that keep up with those stats that deal with those cases. The MDT team, every case of abused children, that victim service officer is your contact. I'll say this, if the attorneys are our team captains, if I'm sending them to court to make hard decisions, the VSO, they are our MVPs. Because we could do this job without them. And I'm the most transparent person you'll ever see. I'm happy to try to show this to you. For an ADECA DV grant, all right, we're the last remaining law enforcement entity in the state of Alabama. There used to be several. We are the last one getting funding off of that. It says 114. We really only get about 85.5 from that grant. I fund 2 prosecutors and 3 VSOs currently at a percentage. I will tell you this, 2 years ago, I was in on a board meeting to where there was a motion to withdraw all funding from law enforcement and reallocate that funding to the Department of Corrections to defendants currently serving prison sentences on people charged with domestic violence. So that grant may not be there forever, but today it still is. Now, in 2018, Darlene Hutchison, who I love dearly, is a great friend. You know, she was involved in Washington. She was involved in some victim service grants that came to the state of Alabama, and that was wonderful. Every DA's office in the state received funding for that, and all over the nation. But look what happened to that funding. So in 2018, I had $250,000, and I funded 4 full-time victim service officers with that money through the DA's office. Me and RH did. In 2020, that grant was frozen, and it was cut by $43,000. The next year in 2021, from where that where was the frozen, the subtraction, 207. And then we got notice, congratulations, guys, in 7 days when the grant's up for renewal, it's going to be zeroed out. So that's what I've lost in the last 4 years at the DA's office. Now, I'm not going to get into this too much. The other 2 counties, this was an issue. Elmore County has been very gracious and very wonderful to comply with the statute. There's a local funding statute that talks about percentages, and you can go ahead and skip, Jenny. And I'll show you, this is what the funding has been in the other counties. So you can see over the years, and I'm not faulting these commissions. I know that the previous administration did not want to get into those types of things, and I'll speak to that in just a moment. But you can see to where there was a major difference in what the statute required and what was being paid, and Elmore County has been great, and that's wonderful. I appreciate what you've done. But let me show you this. If you look at that same 5-year window, in that same 5 years, and just look over here to the far right, at the very bottom over here, remember in the last 5 years, I've lost $250,000 from grants that have gone away. I'm close to $250,000 in a deficit from when you just look at the local funding from different commissions and stuff. And again, if Elmore had not been that wonderful, that would be even larger. So go ahead and skip for me, Jenny. So at this time, when I come to you and I talk about additional funding for a victim service officer, what I did, I took that salary and benefits and I divided that over the population of our 3 counties for a percentage. And if you look at that actual amount would be what you're paying under the statute. I would be requesting essentially $36,696, and that would be a new total of $79,861. And what that would do, that money would go to a victim service officer who would actually serve Elmore County and the other counties when they were short to kind of supervise those as well. But that would pay for Elmore County essentially because that's where the money and the percentage, the number of cases are. Okay, Jenny, you can go ahead and skip. So for $79,861, I'm saying that will satisfy the minimum requirements that you're already doing and allow me to hire a full-time victim service officer to cover those counties. I know Desiree can tell you we'd have more than 1 jury trial per county. Right now, if I have 2 judges with trials in Elmore County, I've got 1 victim service officer that can only be in 1 courtroom. This would allow me that every victim in every courtroom with trials, regardless of which county it was, can have a victim service officer there to communicate with them. Because the judge is going to say, I need the attorneys back here to argue about what cases are going, and that victim's sitting there not knowing what's happening if there's not a victim service officer with them. Go ahead, Jenny. Before I talk about this, and this is right here at the end, I'll also share with you in the past, I believe one of the main reasons Mr. Houston didn't come talk about this kind of stuff is we had worthless check units, we had all kind of things, and I don't know, when's the last time y'all wrote a bunch of checks? It just doesn't happen. So there are additional funding sources that have dried up. That's why I'm standing here today. Now, if you look at the prison stuff, go back one for me, Jenny. Right there on the far right, you can see that this was 21. So this is before the mandatory release bill. Only 25% of people were EOSing their sentence. With the mandatory release bill, I can't imagine what that's probably going to be, I'd say less than 10%. Just in that range of time, you can see to where 24,000 people have went into our prisons, 44,000 have come out. So that's where you see we have more criminals than we've ever had before, is what I was referring to. Okay, Jenny. Now, lastly, this is the top 25 crimes of people currently in our prisons. Okay? If you look at the very bottom right, you see 20,500 essentially. Out of the top 25, that's almost 18,000. There's not that many crimes left of people in our prisons that are not on this list. Now, I would like for you, I think there'll be a line, Jenny, if you'll click, that comes up. I have highlighted distribution of a controlled substance and possession. So you will hear a narrative that our prisons are full of nonviolent drug addicts. I'm here to tell you that is not true. And it is not true because DOC classifies you as violent or nonviolent not based upon your history. What are you currently incarcerated on? So if I have 2 rapes and a murder on my record and I'm trafficking cocaine, they classify me as nonviolent. So please notice, this is not in the drug convictions just last year were over 4,000, or in 21, over 4,000. Of the ones in prison, there's about 1,300 of all time. So that's just a false narrative when they tell you our prisons are 80% full of drug addicts. That's just not true. Okay, Jenny. So that's the essence of what I wanted to share with you tonight. I know I probably went longer than I outstayed my welcome. I just felt like when we start talking about the public safety of our citizens here, there was just no way for me to do that in 2 or 3 sentences. Thank you for hearing me tonight. And again, the gist of this was we've got more victims than ever. And when it gets time to submit those things to the county commission, we'll be submitting a request. I just wanted to explain to you the reasoning behind that. But thank you all for your time. And I'm an open book. If you have questions, I'm always happy to answer them.
We sure appreciate you being here tonight. It's concerning there's such a disconnect between those that impose the laws and what you would have to actually deal with. I know we have had to deal with some of the effects of the same Prison Reform Act of 2015, where I think there's a direct connection between the number of inmates that we see have increased in our county jails and the number of inmates that have decreased in DOC facilities. That's been an ongoing problem for us. However, it's kind of small with what you have to deal with the frustrations of seeing people continuously come through your system. And so, but we really do appreciate you coming here tonight and explaining that to us like you have. Commissioners, I'm sure the ones on the right, left of me are going to have some comments for sure, so go right ahead.
CJ, I guess I'll go ahead and start because everything you stated is not foreign to me. And we're both on the opposite sides of the V, so, a lot of my clients aren't complaining about the Class D felony. But I have seen where I'm getting a lot of clients that I've represented before reoffending, and I know that is causing issue with our victims here in Elmore County. So everything you stated, I've seen. I've even seen where we've had 2 jury trial terms. We actually have one coming up in March, I do believe, and you only have 1 VSO. And I actually had a chance to talk to the 1 VSO who's contemplating on how she's going to manage to work both courtrooms on that date. But somehow your office always figures out how to make it work for the citizens of Elmore County. And I just want to say thank you. And I don't have any bias because you were my trainer when I was a little ADA back
We're back on? All right, good, thank you. Pending the expiration of the national public health emergency for COVID-19 on May 11th, 2023. Commissioners, if you recall, in December of 2021, the commission established a temporary premium pay program that was to run through the end of 2024, and it was adopted because we wanted to address some workforce recruitment and retention issues. Due to the fact that the president has allowed the public health emergency to end, which will take place on May 11th, 2023, it will require us to end our TPP program as we adopted it, and then we need to allow the use of our ARP funds to supplement the employment pay, which will also run up to the end of 2024. And also, just as a reminder, just as we've discussed in prior meetings, the commission's long-term plans has been to update the pay rates for FY 2025. And so this modification we'll be considering tonight with the current TPP program, will not alter those plans. Any questions or comments? Okay, next item, discuss financing 2022 Caterpillar motor graders for First Community Bank and authorizing chairman and COO to sign the necessary documents. Mr. McGinty?
Mr. Chairman, Commission, this item and the next both relate to our equipment rotation that we have scheduled for this year. This is the first phase of that with the motor graders, but we solicited sealed bids for the financing of these new motor graders, trying to maximize our purchase power. And so that's what this first item is we recommend going to the First Community Bank. They had the lowest rate, using the local preference on that.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. McGinty? All right, next item is discuss awarding bid inquiry 2023-21, sale of surplus equipment to the highest responsible bidder. Mr. McGinty?
Yes, sir. The same thing on this one. We solicited sealed bids for that. Right now, the used equipment, heavy equipment market is through the roof, and so our numbers were higher than what we were expecting. And so we're actually able to purchase, or actually to sell these motor graders for more than what we paid for these 3 years ago. So, and we took like I said, we had the sealed bids, and we recommend going with the highest bidder and sending those to auction, seeing how much they can actually bring at auction.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. McGinty? All right, next item is the consent docket. Approved travel memorandum. Approved surplus of attached list of public work equipment. Approves proposed plat for Allen Place Phase 1, 12 lots. Next item is personnel notifications. Notification of resignation of Austin Wilson, Corrections Officer, effective 2/8/2023. Notification of hire of Brady East, Corrections Officer, replace A. Wilson, effective 2/26/2023. Notification of resignation of Matthew Eller, Deputy, effective 2/15/2023. Notification of hire of William Coffell, Deputy, replace M. Eller, effective 3/6/2023. Notification of resignation of Jacob Turner, Deputy, effective 2/17/2023. Notification of resignation of Melanie Chastain Smith, Dispatcher Tier 2, effective 2/17/2023. Notification of resignation of Cody Richardson, Building Maintenance Tech, effective 2/24/2023. We'll now move to reports to the commission. Mr. McGinty?
Mr. Chairman, Commission, there's one thing, we need to remove the Allen Place Phase 1 subdivision from this agenda. There's an error with the notification of the adjoining landowners, and so we have to reissue those notices, and so they'll be put back on in a later meeting. So that just needs to be taken off the consent docket.
Okay, any questions about removing that for our business meeting? Okay. Have anything else, Mr. McGinty?
That's all I had.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you. We'll now move to reports from the commission. Commissioner Hines?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. First, I'd like to start by saying it's almost spring. And the great thing happens in spring is that we get to go out and do our 2023 spring cleanup. It's going to be starting on Friday, March the 31st, and go through April the 2nd. So everyone can say, oh, I got something going on Saturday. Well, they can work on Friday afternoon or Sunday afternoon after church. So that's a great thing that we're doing, and all they have to do is, they can just touch on and register with our flyer here with a little code, or they can get a hold of our information through www.elmorecounty.org/environmental and register. And it's amazing, I've already had several churches that's picked up the phone and contacted me and said, hey, what can we do to help clean up Elmore County? And it's starting to snowball a little bit. You know, it's taken several years. But the great thing about this is going to be right after a lot of our roads are clean from our tornado debris. So the residents can get out with your churches and your sports teams. Just got a call today from 3 from Elmore County, that's high school, that's going to be participating that Friday afternoon. We furnish all the bags, and when they get through cleaning up, where they register, they can just tell us where they're going to leave the bags, and Sheriff Franklin and his deputies and our sheriff's department will take and have the prisoners out there and pick it up. So we make it easy for our residents. They're going to have the supplies furnished. They're going to have it picked up, and it'll be well taken care of, and we can clean up our county. I like to remind everybody that one of the students the other day, I got a kick out of it. He had helped pick up, and he said it made him think. Next time when he throws his Coca-Cola can in the back of a truck, he'll think about it because it flies out. He won't do that anymore. And so it's good to have our sports teams and our youth in our county to get out and do this because they're our future. And I constantly hear about how nasty our roads are. Well, this is an opportunity for our churches to step up with their men's group, their youth group, and participate. This is a chance for our sports teams to get out. And our high schools, they all the seniors need a little community service time to graduate, most of them do. This is an opportunity for them. But the best thing is one gentleman told me one time, it just feels good to get out and walk and pick up and clean up our county. So again, I'm asking for everyone to get up and sign up and get your groups and have a little competition maybe with some of the other churches and sports teams and see who can pick up the most. That's all, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hines. Commissioner Daughtry?
No report at this time.
Thank you. Commissioner Hill?
Got a lot going on the education side. Just to let you know, on April the 14th, the agility games will kick off here in Wetumpka at the sports complex, and Governor Ivey will be the person that comes and opens it up for us, so she'll be here on the 14th. Just for all you parents and people, spring breaks the 20th through the 24th, March. Right now, they're doing a Read Across America with Dr. Seuss, which I think is wonderful because in some parts of our country, they have outlawed Dr. Seuss being read. So we still have some good common sense here in Elmore County. On a somber note, Wednesday night at 6 p.m., there will be a vigil at Stanhope Elmore Football Stadium for the young man that passed away this past weekend. Y'all all be in prayer for this family. I know this has got to be hard on them, and it's something, nobody can prepare for, really. So please keep these folks in your prayers.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, Chairman, I'd just like to add on to what Henry stated about our community cleanup. Commissioner Hines, I raised you on that competition. I will be competing with you and getting most of our schools involved, so I accept your challenge. But I love when it comes to spring and when we get our community groups together for the cleanup. It's always just a bonding time, and especially it shows our students to, take care of your area and love your area. There are several Black History events that happen for Elmore County. A lot of people will recognize that deserve their honors, and we have more events coming up. And that's all that I have, Chairman, to report tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. I appreciate each of my fellow commissioners and our staff as well for what they do for our county and their passion for making sure we do everything we can to serve the citizens each day. I'll now call on Ms. Jalen to read important calendar dates.
Monday, March 13th, 2023 is the next commission work session at 5 p.m. with the business meeting immediately following. Monday, March 27th, 2023, there will be a commission work session at 5 p.m. with the business meeting immediately following. Friday, March 31st through Sunday, April 2nd, 2023 is the Elmore County Spring Cleanup.
Thank you. We will reconvene for our business meeting shortly. I welcome everyone to the Elmore County Commission meeting for February 27, 2023. I'll call this meeting to order. I'll offer an invocation myself, and then I will ask Commissioner Jackson to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for bringing us here tonight, Father. We ask you to bless our conversation and bless our actions as we strive to serve our community, Father, and also to serve you. Lord, we just pray a special prayer to the family in Millbrook, Lord, that's dealing with the loss of their loved one, Father. We know that you have your hand on that. We just ask for your grace and mercy on that family and those friends around them as they go through this very difficult time. Father, we thank you for loving us when we're not worthy of being loved, Father, and we thank you for everything that you do for us. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand with me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Ms. Shelley, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Hines,
Here.
Commissioner Daughtry.
Here.
Chairman Mercer.
Here.
Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
First agenda item is a special presentation. Is there a motion to approve a resolution honoring the achievements of Macy Stewart, AHSAA Swimming Meet Champion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Jalen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Hines.
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry.
Yes.
Chairman Mercer.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Now to regular business, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the February 6, 2023 commission meeting?
I'll make a motion.
I second.
Ms. Jalen?
Commissioner Hines.
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry.
Yes.
Chairman Mercer.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the memorandum of warrants for a period of January 28, 2023 through February 17, 2023?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Ms. Shayla?
Commissioner Hines.
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry.
Yes.
Chairman Mercer.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Now we'll move to old business. Is there a motion to appoint to the Elmore Water and Sewer Authority with our one candidate being Ron Harris?
Motion to appoint Ron Harris.
Second.
Ms. Jalen?
Commissioner Hines.
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry.
Yes.
Chairman Mercer.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Is there a motion to appoint to the Central Elmore Water and Sewer Board Authority with our one candidate being Conrad White?
Motion approved, Conrad White.
Second.
Ms. Jalen?
Commissioner Hines.
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry.
Yes.
Chairman Mercer.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Now we'll move to new business. Is there a motion to approve or deny setting a public hearing on Monday, March 13th, 5 p.m. for an 050 retail beer off-premise only and 070 retail table wine off-premise only alcohol license application for Dollar General Store 24515 by Dollar & Gin Corp. LLC at 11387 Central Point Road, Wetumpka, Alabama 36092.
Motion. Go ahead. Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Jalen?
Commissioner Hines.
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry.
Yes.
Chairman Mercer.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve or deny setting a public hearing on Monday, March 13th at 5 p.m. for an 050 retail off-premise license only and 070 retail wine off-premise only alcohol license application for Dollar General Store 24630 by Dollar & Gin Corp. LLC at 55 Kane Road, Wetumpka, Alabama 36092?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Jalen?
Commissioner Hines.
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry.
Yes.
Chairman Mercer.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Next item is there a motion to approve or deny amending the Elmore County Temporary Premium Pay Policy to address the pending expiration of the National Public Health Emergency for COVID-19 on May 11th, 2023?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Shayla?
Commissioner Hines.
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry.
Yes.
Chairman Mercer.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve or deny financing 5 2022 Caterpillar motor graders with First Community Bank and authorizing chairman and COO to sign the necessary documents.
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Jalen?
Commissioner Hines?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve or deny awarding bid inquiry 2023-21, sale of surplus equipment to the highest responsible bidder?
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay.
Ms. Jalen?
Commissioner Hines?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the consent docket as presented in the work session?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Jalen?
Commissioner Hines?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
We will forego reading additional reading of the personnel notifications. Are there any additional reports to the commission? Mr. McGinty?
One last thing, Chairman. The second pass for our cleanup is happening, it started today in the Lightwood community. Just want to give a heads up. They will be in the Lightwood community for the next couple of days doing the second pass. So just to let our residents know. Thank you.
Okay. All right, any other report to the commission? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ms. Jalen?
Commissioner Hines?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
We are adjourned.